Happy Fri-YAY, divas. Okay, so somebody asked me about this recently and I wanted to share it with you. Is one of the things that I do, one of the things that I do for having a great masterclass. I super love giving masterclasses, and it's because I like I love like cheering people on, especially in that vulnerable moment when they're like performing in front of their, not only are they performing in front of their peers, but they are also taking criticism or constructive criticism in front of everybody they know. It's like that can be such a minefield. And I have seen a bunch of people do this, like really, like professionals not do this in a way that is super supportive. So I like doing them in a way where I make people feel like they're having a great time and they're actually getting useful feedback. Okay, so the way that I think about giving master classes is that the person who is on stage giving their performance and then also taking constructive feedback is my teammate, and we are basically giving a demonstration of thoughts, of helpful, actionable tips for everyone in the room. Okay, so it's not just the person that's with me on stage. I'm not just talking to them. I'm talking to everyone. And I've definitely seen people do this a lot. And so this is not a new technique or anything like that, but I do want you to incorporate this, maybe, or think about it at least in what you're doing. And so what I do is body language too, is I like stay open the whole time, where I'm saying to the person that's performing, thank you so much. This is so wonderful. I'm so glad that you shared your performance today. One of the things that I loved about what you did was X. Okay, obviously we're going to start with like, build them up. Pick out whatever they did really, really well. I am so proud of you for getting up here today and sharing your gifts with us. Thank you so much, right? Okay, so what are the things that I'd love to talk about that might move this performance to like an even more emotionally compelling whatever, right? We're going to be goal focused here. We're going to be goal oriented, and what we're saying is not that their performance was bad. No. What we're doing is saying like, thank you so much. Let's all talk about what it looks like when we want to take this to the next level. What does that feel like together? Okay, so I told you body language is super important. I'm talking to the person because we're kind of in this together. They're my teammate in describing what we're doing, but then it's also for the people that are sitting here. So I'm saying wow, thank you so much. I loved what you did here. Also, I'd love to talk to you about this technique, this style, this particular thing. So one of the things and then I kind of turn back to the audience and I say, one of the practice tools that I want to share with you today is this, right? So you're taking this energy and like incorporating everybody into this. So it's not just this person, it's everybody. And you're saying, hey, one of the tools that I'd love to give you here in this case is this. I mean, one of the things that I love, I'll just kind of go with this example, which is vowels only, right? So I love to kind of help students identify like, what does it look like to practice something on vowels only so that you can during your practice time become more aware if the vowel's being kind of inefficient, or you might be losing breath, or you might be or the tone might not be as clear as you want. Some of these things. So then I say, hey, are you ever in the practice room and you feel XYZ? One of the tools that I like to use for this is vowels only. Let's talk about it for a second. This is how you do vowels only. I'm kind of getting everybody involved. I'm wondering, would you do vowels only on this so that we can talk about a couple places where you might want to check in with a vowel, right? And so we walk through that process together. What does it look like? Will you demonstrate for our audience what it looks like to practice doing vowels only? Right? And then saying like, okay, and then that person's like, of course that's what I want to do, right? They're your teammate in like describing this technique. So you have them say like, okay, just to get started, like speak just the vowels only, no consonants in this phrase. You can kind of intone them. So it's like, e, a, u, o, u, a, o, right? Something like that. so that I'm thinking about vowels. Okay, we have them do that. And then I also ask our collaborative pianist saying like, hey, can you help us in this? We're going to go from this section to this section. And I would love for you to show them what it's like when you're practicing going through it vowels only, right? What does that look like? And it's okay if this is the first time that you're doing this. So there might be bumps, and that happens. And so they try it, and I go like, amazing. As you were doing that, did you notice any areas where you felt like the vowel wasn't as clear as you wanted it to be, right? Ask them what they felt like, and then say, great. So that's what I would do if I were in the practice room using this technique. I would go back and say, I noticed that I wanted more clarity on that ash, that a sound, like like cat, right? Ash is a sound. So like that. So I want more clarity on that thing. And sometimes like it's super high. Maybe I need to figure out what, if I am in a part of my voice that needs a little bit of modification, vowels only really helps me figure out what needs to happen to get there, right? And sometimes vowels only really tells me where I might be modifying too soon, and it's actually messing with the vowel in not a really helpful way, right? So these are all the things we're kind of like adding into here, and then telling everybody else in the room, like these are the things that we look out for when we're doing this. Do you notice how I'm not saying, you're doing this thing, right? Here's how you're failing at this. Like, right? It's saying like, yeah, as you're working on something like that, one of the things that I like to bring to my consciousness is this, this, and this, right? That allows them to still retain that ability to be like, oh, I'm demonstrating this. Like I also have that experience, right? Oh, that's how I figure out how to do this. So then you ask them like, yeah, that's great. Thank you so much. Would you try doing this vowel one more time and maybe think about lifting the back of your tongue just a little bit more, right? Maybe that's going to help us get to the clarity of the vowel that you're looking for. And then they do it and you go like, oh, I love that. I think that's something that you can keep playing with, right? So try that. And that usually is like the time that you have with a student, okay? A couple things that I want to be careful of here is that one of my least favorite techniques is the I gave you this thing, now when you do it, see how amazing that was, everybody, right? That does not make people feel good, okay? Honestly, I know that we think it does, but it really doesn't it makes the audience like, yes, before and after, amazing. Okay, but unless you've given information about what the tool was that they used to achieve that, then that before and after can just be like, yeah, maybe. What happened? What was I listening for? Sure, maybe they seemed more confident. I don't know. Whatever it is. So that kind of bid to the listeners to be like validate me and my like amazing teaching ability in this student who in 20 seconds I made them better than what was before. This is a technique that I'm just like not a huge fan of. So if we can like let that kind of thinking go and go with, hey, isn't this a useful thing that we can all work on together, right? That each one of us can apply in our practice, in our thinking about music, right? Such a more inclusive way of thinking about it, in which we're not setting up a situation for that student to feel like, wow, I was really crappy before this, and then in 20 seconds they fixed me. So I wanted to share this with you all today, so that it can maybe influence your thinking when you are in front of a masterclass and wanting to give helpful feedback to students, but also to incorporate a situation in which everybody in the room can benefit and find value in what you're saying. And then it also feels like we're all in it together. You're reinforcing that music is something that we are all continuing to get better at, that we all have things that we want to find practice strategies for, all of that kind of stuff, right? So that kind of like we're all lifelong learners feeling. take that however you will, apply that in the way that you want to, and I hope that you will consider some of these strategies when you are giving masterclasses in the future and passing on your amazing knowledge to those who are coming up, with us, around us, by us. And yeah, isn't that a special thing that we get to do? So, as always, divas, stay sparkly, inside and out. Until next time.